You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, we're going to talk about the New England Patriots because I read this article and like to fell out of my chair, but I shook my head and I was like, what in the hell is going on in New England? Now, as we all know, the biggest problem that we've seen in New England all year long is the ability to score points. Mac Jones has lost their job. And I don't know if Bill Belichick reluctantly hired Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's taking a lot of shrapnel right now. And I think Mac Jones was pretty fired up to get with Bill O'Brien. There is an Alabama connection, not only a Patriots connection, but an Alabama connection. And I've often defended O'Brien as a coach. I think he's got some of the same issues from a personnel standpoint as Bill Belichick. At least, I think he showed some of those down in Houston. Nonetheless, I do think he's a pretty good offensive guy. And I thought that's a natural fit, makes all the sense in the world. He's very smart. Mac Jones is very smart. They're going to love each other. All right? And so this article came out, and as we know, I mean, the Patriots can't score any points. They got shut out how many times this year? A couple of times? A couple of times is too many. You should not get shut out in today's offensive NFL. And not only are we going to look at this article, but it got me to thinking. We all know that Christian Gonzalez looks like a good draft pick. All right, he looks like a guy, a lot of people, they had a need at corner, and I get that. But you knew with Bill Belichick can scheme up defense. We know that. He can keep you competitive in most games. You're seeing that right now from a defensive standpoint. He can coach his ass off when it comes to defense. I think he's the best defensive coach in football. I think he has been. Scoring, all right? I don't care about yards given up. But the Patriots have always been pretty good about not allowing a lot of scoring. Actual points is why you lose. Well, let's get to this because we're going to look at a couple of alternatives that the Patriots could have taken in the draft as opposed to Christian Gonzalez. And it's pretty ugly because they had their pick. They had their pick of wide receivers, 3 of whom have major contributions to their team on offense this season. And, of course, throw in the fact, and we'll look at his stats, throw in the fact that they didn't re-sign Jacoby Myers into an offense that he would have already been pretty familiar with Bill O'Brien, but it's the new stuff that O'Brien wanted to use. The things that he's learned not only from his time with the Texans, but Penn State and Alabama, incorporating some of the new offensive stuff. All right? The things that teams are doing now to score points. We know there's a lot of principles that came out of college into offenses in the NFL, and a lot of those things are working, and Bill Belichick did not want Bill O'Brien to use any of that stuff. And it's like, wait, what is happening right now? I couldn't believe it. My jaw dropped. Now, there is a thought process that Bill O'Brien is possibly trying to feed something to the media to save his butt. But Tommy Kernan said just a couple of weeks ago he thought Bill O'Brien would be back. Is Bill Belichick mad because the Kraft said you're hiring Bill O'Brien? I don't know. Because he took so much shrapnel over Patricia and Joe Judge that he's like, watch this. And this tells you right here, Bill Belichick has got a massive influence on the offense, and it didn't work. Under normal circumstances, any offense averaging fewer than 2 touchdowns per game while looking totally inept on a consistent basis would often result in the offensive coordinator being fired. This is NBC Boston. But the offensive issues might not be entirely Bill O'Brien's fault. Sports Illustrated's Bert Breer, on NBC Sports Boston Sports Sunday after the Patriots' Week 13 loss. Quote, Quote, I've talked to people inside the organization who feel Bill O'Brien isn't allowed to run the offense that he brought in. Breer said, head coach Bill Belichick basically tells him, this is what I want this week. This is what we're looking for. And he works within those constraints. What? What? He's got his hands all up in it. I mean, as recently as last night, somebody said to me in defense of Bill O'Brien, I don't think he's able to run everything that he has learned as the head coach at Houston. As the head coach at Penn State, he did a hell of a job at Penn State. And working at Alabama, where Mac Jones played. I mean, what? Like all of the newfangled stuff, that's where the game is going. Not allowed to run it. Some of that stuff, he's not able to run it to the level that maybe he's learned to run it because of the restrictions here. And I think you can even see some of that in the way they started earlier in the year against Miami, against Philadelphia, before the talent issue kind of got into critical mass. The way they came out of the gate, you could see some of the ingenuity, you could see some of the rhythm in what they were doing. All of that looks like it's gone now. And I know that there's at least some people who feel like part of it is the restrictions Bill Belichick is putting on Bill O'Brien. Wow. Okay. I mean, I read that and I was like, you got to be kidding me. What's the point of hiring anybody else? I mean, what was the point of bringing him in if you weren't going to let Bill O'Brien, who's worked with you before, run his offense? And I went back and I looked at Mac Jones's numbers. You can kind of see the first 2 weeks of the year, he nearly threw for 600 yards. And I'm like, and then you can see where it took a bad turn. So we know that they went out there, they drafted Christian Gonzalez. Yes, it looks like a good draft pick. Yes, they had a need at cornerback, but they had a bigger need at wide receiver. Let's just be honest. This team can't separate from anybody. You chose not to re-sign Jakobi Meyers, who's got 52 catches, 591 yards, and 6 touchdowns with the Raiders. He's now playing and has played several games with a rookie quarterback. I mean, this last week against the Chiefs, 6 for 79 and a touch. I mean, all Jakobi Meyers does is turn in and churn in production. And you can see when the Patriots offense was still running there under Josh McDaniels, he was a major contributor. How do you think he'd have done with Bill O'Brien? Jakobi Meyers was a huge miss and a huge blind spot for Bill Belichick, a massive one. But we know they took Christian Gonzalez. Well, these three guys all went after Gonzalez in the draft. Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Ravens, 58 catches for 613. He's got 2 touchdowns. I know the touchdowns isn't there, but he's playing with Lamar Jackson, who we know will take the ball and run it in, or they'll give the ball to a running back with the Ravens and run it in. But the point is, all this kid has done, Zay Flowers, out of Boston College. This was the guy I thought they were taking. I absolutely thought this is the guy that the Patriots are taking in the draft. 58 catches and 613. Well, I can do quick math. It's 110 catches and 1,200 yards of production between Jakobi Meyers and Zay Flowers. You didn't take him. What about Jordan Addison, who also went afterwards, after Christian Gonzalez? He's been playing with Josh Dobbs, since Kirk Cousins got hurt. 54 catches, 686. He's a touchdown machine. 7 touchdowns. I mean, my God, he's got a 7 for 123 game in there. And once again, this guy got drafted. He's only 21. He got drafted after Christian Gonzalez. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, who has to compete with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, both really damn good receivers, for touches. My boy right here is from Nacogdoches, Texas, right here where I'm from, basically, right down the road. 45 catches, 468, and 2 touchdowns. I read this article and thought, if I'm Robert Kraft, it's over. It is over. And I think there was a certain amount of ego that got involved here. I'm never going to be one of these people that comes on here and is like, it was all Brady. No, I think Belichick had a massive hand, especially for those first 3 Super Bowls, and Brady was clutch as hell. But we know that was, in large, a defensive kind of team. And then, of course, the Super Bowl against the Rams, where that offense for the Rams was shut down with a marvelous game plan from Bill Belichick. Belichick absolutely had a major influence on those Super Bowls and on that team, and I think he's the greatest coach ever. But I have to admit, I think he's coaching with a little bit of a vendetta here. I was made to get rid of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. Everybody knows Patricia is his dude. I was made to take Bill O'Brien back. Yeah, he worked here at one time. Yeah, we got a relationship, but I'm kind of ticked. And I want him to run an offense on this team a certain kind of way. And in fact, we can go back to that article right quick, because look at this. I mean, the offense was better last year. And do I think that's a product of No, Bill O'Brien is light years better than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge at calling and managing offense. 31 touchdowns last year, only 16 this year. 25 less yards a game. Look at the 100-yard rushers and receivers. Zero this season, 6 last season. They do have less turnovers. Yeah, he's not letting anybody throw the ball down the field. And when Mac Jones did, and even Bailey Zappi this past weekend, the damn wide receivers that they got can't catch the ball. It's crazy what has happened with the Patriots in this offense. I do think there's going to be a mutual parting of the ways. That's my guess, all right? I just call it an educated guess, but that's my guess. And you're going to see some teams behind the scenes, probably the Panthers and the Chargers most notably, come after Bill and the Commanders. I kind of think he ends up with the Commanders. There's something weird there with him, and I think how he looks at Sam Howell. I think he thinks he can win with Sam Howell. Maybe he can. And there's no doubt Belichick will bring a business aspect, a monetary aspect to a team. No doubt about it. Good luck on offense. Don't know what else to say to you. Good luck on offense. Maybe he retains Eric Bieniemy. God, there was a rumor about Bieniemy and the Bears. You got to be kidding me. I mean, that Washington Redskins. Yeah, I said Redskins. Redskins offense they ain't been no world beaters this year. I can tell you that. Yikes. Tell me what you think. This was sort of a rant video because I was like, could Belichick have been more wrong about everything related to the offensive side of the ball in a matter of an 18-month span? And not only that, but the weirdness of not letting Billy O'Brien run the new stuff. The stuff that actually can cause some separation between wide receivers and defensive backs, etc. Speed stuff. Oh, well, that's newfangled stuff. We don't want that here. Man, I would be like, where do you want to go, Bill? Because we'll trade you there. Yeah, I mean, at some point, and you sabotage our quarterback. And the Krafts who like Mac Jones still don't know what they've got with Mac. Because if you hear all this and Bill O'Brien has told you this, there's a chance Bill O'Brien and the Krafts actually meet. That's a possibility, I think. I think they're the ones that probably told Belichick, you've got to hire an offensive coordinator and you might as well just bring in Bill O'Brien. I don't think Bill Belichick liked that too much. It's just a gut feeling. Call it a guess. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.